Hey everybody, it's Texas Stroker here, Lastest Performance Shop, Lone Star at Mopars.com. Super Bowl Eve, I am trying to slowly get caught up on things, and this card doesn't have a ton of space, and I don't think, I know, I suck at succinct, but I don't think I will mess this one up. Got like 22 minutes, I think we can cover everything here. And what this goes back to is a Mac holiday sale. At the time, Mac had like, I want to say at least 3, possibly 4 flyers going at the same time this was happening. There's like Black Friday, a holiday sale, the current flyer, and it seems like there's maybe something else. And I was wheeling and dealing with my guy, and this was stuff he didn't touch it. He had nothing. He wasn't interested in like trying to order it and match the deals or anything. No big deal. I'll just order online then. I'd rather give him the business, but hey, I also want to save money. So that is what we did. We're going to get started here with something relatively familiar from our recent ones. And I have to tell you, this came in a UPS box that had 2 funky brown paper-filled bags. And we've got, let me get you the exact part number because I did waste the time documenting this for you. We have what should have cost $60, 60 and change. What would it have been? $60.99. We saved roughly $12. It came in at $48.60. I thought it was a decent deal. And what it is, it's Mac's part number BH16. Some of you might already know this if you follow along with my part number learning systems. AV. Now I hope even more of you have done that. -O, and hopefully it comes through for you at some point in time. But again, basically with this Mac holiday sale, as they dubbed it, $60.99 became $48.60, and it, if I can get this piece of paper to bounce, is right here. Now you get it right. This is an orange Antivibe hammer, and if you can't see through the bag, and if you think back to the part number, it's 16 ounce. So, get it out of the plastic. I have to tell you, I don't know what they do. This thing, it's just like, it's almost like when you get something from Vit, it just has this like dust and gunk on it. And that would make sense if it was sitting outside on my porch or something, but like it's boxed. It's bagged. To their credit, like it came partially bagged. I don't know. Not a big deal, but interesting. So, the Antivibes, do I like them? I sure do. I did double check at work. I thought I had a 24 ounce Proto, and then I convinced myself I must have a 32. It's 24. I kind of, when we covered the big, Antivibe set, the BH3 AVS-O, that has 32, 40, 48. 48 is great when you got something like super stubborn or you just need to wail on something. That's going to be what you use. 32, you're far more likely to use that. Realistically, I feel 16 is good. I think in that video I told you, like, did I say 16, 32, 48? Kind of makes sense to me. That happy medium of 24 would be nice. You could also do like a 24 and 48. Especially like say that you've got like a 16 ounce or something in some other brand you had before the Antivibes came around. Supplement it that way. But my thoughts at the time, and they may have changed for reasons that you will see in the future, this sort of like could complete that. Like I've got the giant ones, and I've got this one, and this one is very well used. Why did I do 24 with the Proto? I was thinking it was going to be a good heavyweight. Again, 16 is sort of like standard duty to me. 24 slightly up on that. I think I also got like the best price point somehow. It's weird when you can like swing things and get a better deal on like a 24 ounce hammer than a 16, but sometimes things pan out that way with Zorro. I don't ask questions, I just take advantage of the savings. So yeah, I love these. They've been good to me so far. The biggest thing, again, I've had that Proto at work for quite some time, and again, you're giving up the color, your Proto versus Mac. For me personally, it's mainly just the color. And again, in the event anything did ever happen to this, it's going to be way easier for me to deal with my Mac guy than it's going to be to deal with Proto. So just easier, right? I can hand him a hammer. He can give me a red one because he's not going to have the colors on his truck. And then he can get me an orange one on order type of a thing. So something I don't know if I've highlighted on these, but I thought of it when I was wailing around with the Proto at work the other day, because even with this mat, it kind of, this is not a great example since it's sort of raised in that area, but there is a flat spot milled. So if I come over here where the camera's not, like they kind of stand up. And, small thing, kind of cool. Just thought I'd mention it. You got the Mac Tools branding. We've got a battery light flashing. That's just par for the course. The Antivibe there. You got the orange Mac again. -G for green. No hyphen in Giro. You're gonna get your red. I dig orange. I like green too, but like Mac's green is sort of like brighter. If you haven't seen my pry bars I got at work, I think that was the first thing I bought from the Mac guy, that hammer bundle with the pry bars. It's a pretty good deal. But this is sort of brighter than you might like on the orange, but it's just different. I like it. And again, this is going to be a very, very useful hammer. The 16-ounce head weight, it's heavy enough to get stuff done. It's not going to put a lot of strain on you, especially then when you got like a 32 and a 48. Maybe I should just use the 40, right? Because I feel like I'm never going to use it. I'm either going to get the 32 or I'm just going to be like, nope, I need something big and I'm going to go to the heavyweight. Maybe I'll have to force myself to use the 40, but this is not something I'll have to force myself to use because it's just a super common size. A lot of your claw hammers, whatever you are, Vaughn, Estwing, just generic stuff, they're 16 ounce. You should be familiar with the feel of them. They balance super well in hand. This one right here, since we have it, is it Mexico or Taiwan? This is going to be made in Taiwan. I kind of think my Proto, and I believe some of the Macs, have been made in Mexico. I wonder, you know, this is an updated handle. They used to have like the triangular cutout in this region. I don't know if that's going to be like the Mexico and this is Taiwan. I don't know, but just a thought, something I wanted to hit on. Patented design, reduces shock and vibration. Right there, you've got the part number, 16-ounce Antivibe. If we come over here, I thought they had the graph. I guess the graph is here. My thumb is covering it. You get the idea. The main thing, if you can ever get your hand on one of these, I think even Stanley, they might be harder to find now. Proto is a great buy. If you're on the tool truck, if you can swing one, if there's like a used one somebody traded in or something, because like maybe they bought red years ago and they're like, I gotta have green. If you can just have one or a coworker has it and use it, that's the best thing to do. Otherwise, you're gonna have to buy blind. And if you do that, try to get something that you don't have or something that you know you would use. A 16 is like your sweet spot go-to. Feel free to go that route. If your heaviest hammer is a 24 ounce, maybe you want to just go buy a 40 or 48, you know. Do something where you can get a feel for it, but it'll still be useful even if you hate it, right? You might wind up loving it, might hate it. Don't get the sets yet. Just kind of try to ease into it. This is, again, where friends or coworkers are super nice to have in play. But, yeah, picked it up and basically saved $12, so it seems like a win to me. We can pair it with the big set and have a pretty comprehensive Antivibe setup at home. This next one, probably not near as cool and not near as exciting, but for some of you, particularly if you're either A, dealing with old stuff, B, dealing with rare stuff, or C, dealing with modern stuff that doesn't have a consistent, steady supply of parts, could be very useful to you. And I think C, sadly, is becoming a more and more common occurrence. Now, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to grab this thing. It is filthy. Absolutely filthy, outside and inside. I don't know what they do. Okay, I really don't. But right here, you're thinking like, oh, this might be cool. It's one of the red Mac cases. This is going to be good stuff, right? Sounds like something's whirling around. Don't know if any of you can read that part number. If you can't, fear not. I'm going to break it down for you. It's going to be GC 950. Again, that's GC 950. It's an 11-piece set. Mac typically keeps things simple with part numbers. In this case, what does the G and the C mean? Gasket cutter. All right, so if you're thinking like, oh, gasket cutter, you might have some images coming up in your head. If I tell you 11 pieces, you're like, oh, I don't know if I was thinking of that, and you might process it and be like, wait, I kind of have a feel for what this might look like. Let me do you a solid, pop this open. What have they done? Like, these are absolutely just filthy for something brand new. It's bizarre. But this is kind of cool, at least to me, because I'm a guy that deals with a lot of stuff that doesn't have gaskets, or the gaskets that are available suck. This is why I keep gasket material around. I've always done things like the dumb way, just like X-Acto knifing it and trying to use drills and stuff. This is going to be so much better. I know what you're thinking. You're sitting here and you're like, wait, I bet Mac doesn't make that. You just got screwed, buddy. You paid tool truck prices for something I can probably find on the Jungle site for 20 bucks. Go for it. Yeah, you go to the Jungle site and buy the Chinese knockoff of this if you want to. In some cases, it would probably function okay. I don't really know. I'm not going to dive down that road. I know the OEM of this. I know where I can get it, and I know what it would cost. And I'll tell you that for your shopping around. Again, if you go buy this from your Mac guy, if you order this from Mac Tools Direct by taking the links I provide for you, I don't see a dime. So I don't care if I lose out on sales because I'm not making any. So what I will tell you, this is made by Lang or K-Star, and you can find this in many, many different iterations. Yes, even on other tool trucks. It will be essentially the same thing, probably in a different case, certainly with a different part number in most cases, but the same basic layout. Add a piece, take a piece away, who knows what they spec out. If you want to go OEM route with this and you want to hear your savings, again, look it up through Lang. That's right. Lang, Lyle, they have a lot of things on the trucks. Lang typically kind of like rebrands, if you will. So, with Lang, you could go to Summit Racing or your choice of places, and you could buy this same thing for 40 bucks. All right. You could go other places and you can find it way cheaper than the Mack truck, probably like 45 to 50-ish all day. You can also find it more expensive, depends on what kind of a deal you're getting. That said, you know we got a deal on this because it's the Mack holiday sale. I'll tell you right now, if you use this a ton, or if you've used a similar kit a ton and you have problems, or like the size you have, what's going to happen here, you're going to use the same sizes over and over again and never touch the others, depending on what you're doing. So what I will tell you, max retail price on this is $68.99. That's not like egregiously higher, you know, than the others. But again, if you can get it from Summit for 40 bucks and it's $68 from Mac, is this something with moving parts that are going to break? Not really. I mean, you could dull these out or something, I guess, if you use it all the time, or like the surface underneath. You know, if you're hammering through, you know, like a cork gasket and it's just onto the steel table every time, you might dull the thing, you know, and if you don't want to sharpen it, you just give it back to your dealer, make him get one type of a deal. There is some utility there, but yeah, I would absolutely not blame anybody for just getting it for the 40 bucks and laughing all the way to the bank. However, on the sale, and fear not, I didn't get it for like $15 or something, but we did save $13. We went from $68.99 down to $55.20. At the time, again, everything was usually like in the $40 to $50 range. Summit being really good at $39.99, we'll call it $40, and wherever else you might buy Lang stuff or tools or parts from, probably in that $45 to $50ish range. So if I'm spending an extra $5 and I break this, or I use the 3/8 or the 9/16 or the half all the time, and I dull it out, I can just make my Mac guy deal with it. There is a beauty for that, and for only $5, I'll take advantage of it. So basically, the way this works, if you didn't know, you essentially come in and you would take these pieces, let's go with 9/16 here, and you would drive it. These kind of just pop on, sort of like a friction ring, I guess is the best way to describe it. Let me see if I can not cut my hand and show you. Those little drivers, some of you might think like, oh yeah, that'll just spin out. No, it's kind of just machined with a groove. And then this little O-ring, it could be that could be what goes out. And I don't think Summit's really going to care. They're going to be like, yeah, I'll talk to Lang. Now, granted, personally, I always have great experience with Summit. I hear a lot of people that don't. I don't know if I'm just lucky or easier to get along with or catch a different employee, but regardless, you might be able to find an O-ring that size, right? But if you can make your dealer do it, there's my $5 in action. Because like I said, I don't think this is going to fail, but the O-ring might. So right here, you would basically just come in and stick this on, and then we would take the end, which let me actually, before I do that, and I could, I'll get the big one. Again, these are just like covered in white. I have no idea what it is. I don't know if they're ancient because they never sell these anymore. But like that, just, I mean, it looks like I bought this off of eBay from some dude that got it at a pawn shop or something. Very difficult to read, but I grabbed this one because I thought it would be easier. That is a U, that is an S, that is an A, and then I don't think there's a part number, but to the side of the U, 1 second, once we focus, right there is a 1. So it's got the size before the country of origin, and yes, this is made in America, believe it or not. So we'll set that down. What we have is 1 inch, 7/8, 3/4, 5/8, 9/16, half, 7/16, 3/8, quarter, and 5/16. Why there's not 15/16, I don't know. Am I super concerned since I use 5/8 all the time? No, because I would use 5/8. But yeah, so those bigger sizes, you'd have to come in. It might be like oil passages. Who knows what you're dealing on. But you basically take the end, you put it on here, and then you hammer down. And that's it. And it's a great pairing with something like the Mac Antivibe. Personally, since I love them so much, I would put this with a drilling hammer, 2 or 3 pounder. I think that would pair even better than the Antivibe. But right there, the stamping is much nicer. Wear safety goggles, made in USA. Again, you can totally see it. Whole thing made in America. I think I'm gonna orient it that way just because it reads. So I'm picking 5/8 because it's the least nasty looking, and I'm hoping I can get it to show up for you a little better. So as opposed to the 1, we'll have a fraction here. Yeah, you can see that. So you've got your stamping of 5/8. You've got USA, no standalone part numbers, that's fine. But again, this just pops on. That O-rings kind of provides a friction hold, and it's just sort of beveled to a sharp cutting edge. That's literally it. So again, if you've got like a small machine shop at home, you could touch those up. You could probably file finish them, whatever. Or you can just make your dealer do it. But quarter all the way to 1 inch. Only noticeable miss, in my opinion, is 15/16, but you know, it is what it is. I guess you might want something between those. There is a metric equivalent to this set if you're interested. I haven't had these Mac cases too long. I usually like to see the hinge come through and be removable. This one's sort of like a little cheaper than that. But yeah, aside from being absolutely filthy and dropping crud all over the mat, it's not a bad deal. So again, if that interests you, if that's something where you're like, hey, I could have used that the other day, or you know, my buddy's got this old pan head and you know, I'm always having to help him with gaskets and stuff, there you go. You know, you can cut your own gaskets that way. Somewhere I thought I would turn my head and see a sheet of gasket material, but I don't. But let me dig a little bit. It's like right here, okay? Say that this water neck gasket, this one is for, I've got a stack of them. I'm gonna say that that is a 440. But essentially, you come in and you can cut your own gaskets. If you need to cut ovals or anything like that, you're going to have to kind of like spin it around. But let's say that you have that gasket and it sucks. It always leaks. There's nothing you can do. Anytime you get that gasket, which is all that's available, it just leaks. And if on, say, your small block Mopar, you run a cork gasket and it never leaks, guess what you can do? You can buy a sheet of cork gasket. You can take one of these trash gaskets that always leaks, trace it, cut it out, and those punches are going to make way better circles than I do. Some of you might have that crafty gene. You might have a girlfriend or wife that's a wizard with an X-Acto knife. Watch out for those types. Me, I would rather hammer something through that cuts it, and that's what I can do now. So that's what we did. It was the Mac holiday sale. Getting really cold out here. Nose is starting to run. I'm going to get inside, assuming the Knicks and Celtics is over, but I'll maybe walk in on the end of the game. Who knows? But yeah, Mac holiday sale, not too bad of a deal. Again, I'm personally a big fan of the Antivibes. If you want to save even more money and you don't care about color, just go Proto. Gasket cutters, if you have this, whether it's Mac, Snap-on, Matco, Lang, how often do you use this? Is going to be a deal where a lot of people don't even know this is a tool. They don't know it's a thing, can't fathom it. Some of you, if you're older, are like, oh, I use that thing all the time, you know, and then you're like, wait, I used to use it all the time, and then I quit. Pretty much every old timer I've ever known, you know, would be like, well, I'll just make a gasket. And why would I go buy one? I'll just make one. And I haven't heard anyone say that in a really long time. But yeah, for standard simple stuff, cork, I don't know what the red rubber is, but I use it a lot. Paper gaskets, obviously. Now, fancy stuff, I can't make that. Like rim flex gaskets, that's, you know, Cometic high-end head. I'm not going to do that, but simple things, yes. So if you've used this, what do you think of it? How's it treated you? What brand is it? What did you pay? Antivibe, how do you feel about it? Is 16 your ultimate sweet spot? Whatever you want to talk about, feel free. That said, I know the card's time is about to expire, so I will end with this. Thank you for watching. I hope you have yourself a fantastic week. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, let me know your thoughts. You can find us online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all three at Lone Star Mopars. If you have not subscribed, I encourage you to do so. If you do that, you jump your charger across the creek, you wield your color-coordinated Mac Antivibe. YouTube just might notify you we've got brand new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. That said, thanks so much for watching, and I hope I catch you back here for more from the shop.